Hello everyone, welcome back to Croc Creek Brewery. This is Wes. Today we actually have a taste test video. Recently I went down to Fredericksburg, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. Recently I went down to Fredericksburg here in Texas. It's where my wife and I honeymooned. And I went down and tested all sorts of fruit wines, lambic beers, German beers. We had a great time. I ate at some really nice restaurants. At one of the restaurants, I picked up a bottle of mead. This is Hye Bay Cyser. So if you have made mead for any length of time, you're probably aware that a Cyser is an apple mead. Generally a low ABV. This one is 9% alcohol by volume. Let me quickly go over the description. There isn't too much. Carbonated honey apple wine with natural flavorings. Smooth charm for the wild things. Howling for a good time? Look no further. The Hye Bay is smooth from the start to finish and will leave you baying at the moon. I saw this and I just had to have it. And this video is by no means endorsed by Hye Bay. I received no compensation from them. This is just my review on their Cyser. So let's go ahead and open it up. You can probably see the bubbles in it. It's quite carbonated. Ooh, it smells nice. I also picked up this lovely little glass from a very comical winery. I won't repeat the name of the winery so I don't get demonetized. It's lovely and perfect sized for a tasting glass. The color on this is a little hazy, but that's to be expected with a carbonated mead. The color's nice, a light yellow. It's got good effervescence in it. Right away I smell apples and I get a hint of spices, like almost like a cinnamon or a nutmeg spice in it. And then I get the sweetness of the honey on the tail end. Let's do a short sip and acclimate our mouths to the beverage. Then we'll do a long sip and enjoy. Now with a short sip, we just take it in our mouths, swallow it. We don't taste it really or anything. That's just to acclimate your mouth to what it is you're going to be drinking. Helps you figure out some of the flavors in the long run. Very bubbly. I think they may have used green apples in this. I get some of that sharp, crisp green apple taste right up front, and it washes down with just a hint of honey. I had no idea what the percentages of honey and apple were that they used. I've made a couple Cysers before. Most of them were off camera. I've experimented with them. I generally follow my 3 pounds of honey in a 1 gallon batch, and then instead of using water, I'll use apple cider or apple juice. So I have no idea the process of making this. It doesn't taste like they used a lot of honey in this. It tastes like they used a small amount. The coloring, I think, is more of a apple juice. It's very, very crisp and very refreshing. This would make a very nice beverage to come home and drink on a hot summer's day after working hard. I could definitely sit and enjoy a glass of this. Commercial meaderies are starting to become more and more popular. I haven't found too many in Texas. There's a few around. This was one of the few bottles I saw in Fredericksburg of mead. In fact, it was the only mead that I found. And it doesn't actually say mead on the label. It actually specifically says it is a Cyser, which got me excited. This is from Hye Bay Cyser Company, just outside of Fredericksburg, between Fredericksburg and Llano, I believe. I meant to stop by their cider company out in the hills and visit with them and talk with them, but I ran out of time and wasn't able to. Perhaps I'll make it down there again and I'll visit with them. I'm hoping to talk to more of the wineries and see what all they make. Very smooth, very crisp, very refreshing. While I was down there in Fredericksburg, I mentioned I tasted a lot of fruit wines from the wineries. Right on the downtown strip, a lot of the wineries have opened up tasting rooms where you can go in and sample or buy a glass or buy a bottle and take it with you, just like I did. But I was interested in their fruit wines, and as I tasted and had a few glasses, I started to realize a lot of those wine makers and vineyards don't actually make fruit wines. They make fruit infused wines. So that would be like a red wine infused with blackberry, or a white wine infused with pineapple or peach or whatever. And as I talked to the people in the tasting rooms, I explained that I was a home brewer and was interested in their process and in how they made their fruit wines. I was surprised that not very many of them had actually learned about the process of making wine. Very few of them even knew if it was a fruit wine or if it was an infusion. But you could very obviously taste the red wine or the white wine in it that was used as a base. And some of the wineries used, I believe, a fruit syrup, similar to something you'd use on a snow cone, artificial flavorings. Some of them used actual fruit in their imbuing process. So it was interesting to learn about how commercial winemakers infuse their wines with fruit. I wish I had found actual fruit wines like I make all the time. But unfortunately, that was not the case. But I have to say I'm very pleased with this Hye Bay Cyser. I wish there was a little bit more honey in it. It doesn't have much of a honey taste. It's there, but it's very, very slight. Mostly it's carbonated, fermented apple juice with a hint of honey, which by no means knocks this beverage. This is a very, very nice beverage. If you have a chance to go out and find you a bottle of Hye Bay Cyser, go out and do it. Go out and try it. See what you think of it. I'm going to sit here and enjoy the rest of this glass. I hope you have enjoyed this tasting review of Hye Bay's Cyser. We'll see you on the next video. Bye now.